Hey friends, welcome back to Creating Success in the Mess. We're your hosts, Corey and Whitney.
In this show, we help creative entrepreneurs find success in business by living into their highest potential and calling in life.
Well, hey there friends, and welcome to Creating Success in the Mess. In this episode, we're going to be talking about charging your worth. So, worth. What is your worth? What is it? Like your worth? Like how much you are, or are you even an amount?
This one always throws me because they say, and I'm guilty of saying, like, no, charge your worth, like, know your worth, like, what's your value? But really, if you actually think about it, your product, your service, whatever it is that you're selling or doing is not you, first off. Like, you are putting into it what your experience and your knowledge, and that has value, but the actual thing you're selling is not you. And if you think about it, what is your worth as a person?
Well, I don't think you can really put a price on that.
Of course not. You're priceless.
Right. So I think realistically, when we say charge your worth, I think you have to identify what are your freedoms. Like what do you identify that you're willing to do, and what are you not willing to do? I mean, this isn't just like a business topic either. I mean, do you not like, you kind of like set like your boundaries in relationships, right? Of like what's like what you put up with and what you don't, right? Is that not technically in regards to your worth?
I mean, yeah, no, you know what you're worth. Like, are you worth him going the extra mile? Like, are you, I mean, in your job, right? If you work for somebody, it's like, well, what are you worth as an employee? Like, what is your experience and your time and your energy worth? That's what we say.
Yeah.
But technically, if you really think about it, it's priceless.
Right.
So there really isn't, you really can't charge what you're worth, because you're worth like an infinite amount of money. There's no amount of money that could ever like replace you, or your uniqueness and your value. You're like,
I feel like this is not really actually like a monetary value thing. I feel like it is really more like in regards to like what I'm willing to do. So like, for example, it's if I really enjoy basket weaving, like I'm like basket weaving is my passion. Like I love helping people like have great style in their homes with custom made baskets, then that's worth me doing. That has my worth, it has my talent, it has my skill in it. Now, there's a price attached for the artwork that I'm doing there. But if I'm a basket weaver and someone is really wanting to pay me money to clean gutters, I don't really care what amount of money it is. I'm not into cleaning gutters. That's not me. And if you're a gutter cleaner, that's completely fine. That's you. That's your passion. It's not me. That's not worth my time to put into, because my worth is put into something else.
Right. So obviously, I mean, like this whole topic of, charge your worth, know your worth is really what makes pricing your service or your item so difficult, because it kind of puts all this pressure on you to like, charge your worth and to figure out a number that goes with what your worth is. And it's really not about charging your worth, really, because like we said, like it's so complex, and when you think of it that way, it kind of like brings in all these different emotions and these these aspects that really are valuable and are a thing. But in the end, when we think about pricing our service or our piece of furniture or our artwork or our candles or whatever it is that we're selling or, doing, it's really a mathematical equation. I mean, it really isn't an emotional situation. And I think that, charge your worth is like opening the door to like creating an emotional situation in a mathematical, situation. So
right. So for the person who's in business, so the person that is like, well, okay, well, I do this. It's worth my time. I love it. I love providing the service or the product for the people. I really feel like I'm helping make a difference with that which I have. You still have to put a price to it.
Right.
So, and I know it's something that people struggle with. I mean, I can remember like in the beginning of some of our businesses, like I kind of typically did the pricing thing, and it was kind of difficult. And I always felt like the price was always lower in the beginning. And then as business went along, it's like the price raised. And I think you can say like, oh, well, as you gain experience, you become better at it and you're worth more because of your experience. And I get that. But I think a lot of time of it too is like, do we jump to a low price because we feel like an imposter when we're jumping into something that's new?
I mean, it could be. And that again is another emotional situation that you're putting into deciding the price of what you're going to charge for the item. And I think that's where a lot of us get stuck. Like me in particular, like I like to paint. Like I paint on canvas, I paint on furniture. Like I like to paint, and it's like a therapeutic process. It's like a growth process. It's an experience for me that I just like to do. And so when I'm painting something, most of the time I'm painting for me. And then, I go to sell this item, and it is kind of like selling a piece of you because I painted it, from within. Like there is a piece of me on that like canvas or whatever. But ultimately, like that I have to still charge in, an area that is like not an emotional attached like part of it, or
right.
I mean, because some paintings I finish, like it's been an emotional experience. It's been like, a therapeutic process, and like I've grown and I've enjoyed it. Like my art, like, I paint a canvas and I learned something new. I mean, that's invaluable. And so
right.
like I can't charge the person that's going to buy that canvas for my, massive growth that right. I had from that.
So you typically, so when you're pricing your artwork, like a lot of times I feel like what we kind of do is like, okay, well, this is a one-of-a-kind item. So technically with artwork, you have style, right?
Right.
You have the size of a canvas or a piece of artwork, or whether it's like, wood framed, or whether it's a canvas, it's stretched, so forth.
Right.
And so, you can go the whole route of like, oh, this is how much it cost me. This is how much time I put in it. This is my value per hour, blah, blah, blah. But realistically, you do a little bit of market research. And if you really want to know, okay, how do I price my thing? It's actually the same way like you go shop for things. So like imagine you're shopping for a car. You don't just walk on a dealership, not looking online, not looking around anywhere. You don't just pull up to a dealership and say, I'm looking for a black four-door car. What do you got? Okay, I'll take that. And you never ask what the price is. You shop around. Whether it's a washing machine or a car, you look online. You're like, hey, what's the going rate? What brands are going for what prices? And then you shop around. You go to places, and that's the whole point of like businesses. There's competition, right? So it's like when you're wanting to price your item, I think you do somewhat of the similar process. You are going to kind of in a way shop and see what is the prices of the market for what it is that I'm doing or offering.
I mean, to a degree, but also, I mean, you do have uniqueness that you need to account for. I think that the thing that has helped me the most, and I can get really overwhelmed from pricing things. I stumble around and I can't figure out, is it too low? Is it too high? Is it this? Is it that? Like I think the thing that has helped me the most in pricing is really just looking at it like a mathematical equation. I mean, of course I need to account for the supplies that I've put into it, and the costs that I've put into whatever it is I'm doing, and then I need to account for my time and my experience and my energy and my effort and my uniqueness, my one of a kindness, and then I need to make sure that I have allowed for a profit, because ultimately that's where we're in business. That's what we do. And so when you're pricing something, if you think about it more like mathematical factor, you're gonna punch it into a calculator, and then you're gonna take a general assessment of if that feels right, then I think it helps us get out of that rut of getting too emotionally involved and getting overwhelmed, and sometimes we end up charging less than what we should charge, and sometimes we end up way over the mark, and nobody's paying for it because we're wanting them to put dollar amount to our value that we've had, so I think the key really to take away the overwhelm of pricing any of your stuff in your business is calculation. Like you're in a math class. You don't want to go under, and you deserve a profit. So just look at the numbers. And so if that means you're pricing your canvas by square feet, or if you're pricing your piece of furniture in relation to what the current trending going rate is, or your candles are in relation to maybe just slightly higher than something you would get at the box store, or your cakes, your handmade cakes are slightly higher than what they could pick up at the grocery store. I think that is all fine. As I think the key really is just keeping it facts, keeping it equation based.
Right. Well, and I mean, I think a lot of people, some people, they get to a point, they are pricing. They'll put a price on something. And you brought up uniqueness, and I do think uniqueness is a really important factor. So you have your market research, you have what you put into it, and then you have your uniqueness factor. And you have to always account for that for your profit, because it is one of a kind, especially if it's a creative art thing. And in addition, there's also a lot of people, they're afraid to put a price on anything because they're even afraid to even ask for a sale.
Yeah.
And honestly, you don't want to just go throw a low price, well, if I price it this, I know it will sell. You don't want to do that.
Right.
If you're thinking that with the price, you got to go up. And you can always come to somewhat of a comfortable price. I always say go above comfort. If you're if I put it for this, I know it will sell. If I put it for this, it's probably going to sell, and I'm comfortable with that. Okay, when you get to that, go a little bit higher than that. And you'll be surprised, it'll still sell. And I also can probably guarantee you'll have some room to advance that price up as you go. And you're you know what, I'm actually not charging enough.
Right.
But you don't want to price yourself so low that you have nothing, because then in your creative process you begin to be oh, it's not even worth my time. And then that's when you get back to the worth factor of your mindset of it's not worth my time. What's not worth your time? Your passion? Your skill? No, we don't want to go there. So you want to go above what you feel comfortable.
Right. And remember, nothing is permanent. It's all an experience, and it's all a process. That's what that's the whole name and game of life and business, is it's an experience and a process. So you go too low and you think, oh man, I should have gone higher. Well, next time go higher. Say you go too high and it's just not selling and it's not, moving. Well, so then run a sell. Nothing is permanent. Right. And it's all experience and process, and you learn from it as you go, and that's what makes it better the next time.
Right. If you go to a bookstore, they have the new releases, and you're paying high price. They're brand new, they're on there, and then you have all the other books, and then if you get down to a certain area, you have the bargains.
Right.
And you have the clearance.
Right.
And no one walks into a bookstore and goes, oh my gosh, they have a clearance section? That's awful. Oh, there's new releases. These seem way more expensive than the rest of the books. Oh, that's awful. No, that's just part of the game. And it's
Right.
completely okay with doing that. But it's not okay not to list your stuff for sale because you're worried about asking someone to purchase it
Right.
for a price. It's also not okay to just put a price on it just so you can guarantee that you're going to make a sale to help yourself feel better.
Right.
No. It's okay to charge. It's okay to get what you're worth.
Oh, and another thing is, it is also okay that once you put a price on it, if someone asks you to come off that price and you are not comfortable doing that, or that puts you lower than where you wanted to be or where you needed to be, or maybe even negative, it's okay to say no. I'm firm here at this price. Like, and be confident in that. No, I put this price on it, and this is what I need to pay my bills, and this is, the value. It's well worth this.
It is.
Yep.
So if you are wondering, okay, I would really love to get one-on-one on this. I would love to discuss price. I would love to discuss worth. I have a business idea. That's awesome, because you can go to businessbuildingmentors.com/consultation. I think that's it. If it's not, we'll have it linked somewhere.
It's on the website. I'm pretty sure that's
It's on the website.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just go blank in the moment, and that's okay. But
It's a process.
It's right. We do offer consultation. So if you go to businessbuildingmentors.com, somewhere on that website, you're going to find it. You go to our Instagram, you can DM us, you'll find us, but we would love to talk with you and help you with that process, because we know early on, when we didn't know, we had people that helped us, and we reached out to mentors, and that's part of this, is that you don't do business alone. So reach out if you need us. All right, so until the next episode, you all have a great and wonderful week.
Well, hey, creative friends, we hope you enjoyed today's episode and you go take action in your business.
If you really enjoyed this episode, we hope that you definitely subscribe to us, and if you know some creative friends out there, go ahead and share to them. For next time, we'll be here, same time, same place.